This is Australia, the sixth largest country in the world, which has many mysteries and some painful stories hidden in it. Before the 17th century, Australia was a myth for the rest of the world. And the reason for this is that Australia has always been disconnected from the rest of the world. And that's why scientists are still discovering such secrets about Australia that no one knew a few years ago. If you look at the map of Australia, you will see a desert in the middle of this 95% area. 90% of Australia population lives in these green dot areas. Out of this 90%, 75% of the population lives in just 3 cities: Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. Today, Australia is one of the richest countries in the world, where the life expectancy is 84 years, but Australia has never been like this. Every child born 150 years ago in Australia had a life expectancy of only 34 years, and behind this, along with Australia's harsh geography, there are some painful reasons that have been hidden from the whole world. In the 18th century, Australia was a penal colony of the British, meaning a place where criminals were sent as a punishment. But the question here is that who lived in Australia before the British? Before the Europeans came to Australia, Aboriginals lived here for thousands of years, who had their own unique culture, and they were living here peacefully. Then the 17th century came. This was the time when Europeans were discovering new places all over the world in search of resources. And for this purpose, America, Africa, and India were also discovered. At that time, the Europeans had reached here to Indonesia, and no one knew what was beyond that. Then in 1606, a Dutch explorer named William Gine was returning from Indonesia with his trade goods. On the way, his ship came here to the Timor Sea due to a sea storm. And there, he saw high mountains far away. This was Australia. William went back and gave everyone the news of this island, and this spread very quickly. In search of this new land and resources, the Dutch East India Company sent an explorer named Abel Tasman in search of this unknown continent. Tasman crossed Africa in 1642 and reached Tasmania here. And he also saw some islands of New Zealand and Fiji there. Tasmania is also named after this Abel Tasman. Then, about 1.5 years later, in 1770, the British explorer Captain James Cook set out in search of Australia with a few of his companions, and stopped at Botany Bay on the eastern side of Australia. He got down there and observed the locals, their culture and tradition well, and then he went back and gave all the news to the British Empire. The British Empire sent Captain Phillips with 300 soldiers here in 1778. Years later, and in just a few months they captured the western coastline of Australia. Then between 1788 and 1868, the British left 1.5 lakh criminals in Australia. And not only this, but the British also brought a lot of diseases with them whose local Aboriginals did not have immunity. And they started dying from these diseases in the next 100 years due to wars with the British and these diseases. 90% of the Aboriginals' population died. And that's why you see most of the white people in Australia today, who are the children of these Europeans and criminals, who killed the real owners of this land mercilessly. Anyway, this was a dark hidden reality of Australia's history. In addition to this, there are such things about Australia that people still do not know. Today in this video, we are going to tell you about 4 recently discovered mysteries of Australia. 1. Merry Man. In 1998, a pilot named Trick Smith was going to Cooper Paddy from Moorebank on his chartered plane, when he suddenly saw a very big picture on the ground. It was a geoglyph. Geoglyphs are such designs that are made by scratching the ground, and they can only be seen from the sky. For example, there are Nazca lines in Peru, 15,000 kilometers away from Australia, which are such big, strange drawings, and they can only be seen from the sky. The most surprising thing for Smith was that no one lived in this part of Australia, and it was very surprising to see such a big drawing spread over an area of about 3 kilometers. And this design was also very close to the restricted area of Woomera. That is, before this discovery, no one was allowed to go here. Today, 26 years have passed, but scientists have not been able to find out when, who, how and why this drawing was made. Even today, Merry Man is one of the big mysteries of Australia. 2. Gympie Gympie tree. From Cape Urquhart to the jungles of New South Wales, such a poisonous plant is found whose thorn can kill you in a few days if you get stung. No cure for its poison has been discovered yet, and those who survive, they have the pain of this thorn all their lives. Australia's famous explorer A.C. Macmillan wrote in his biography that his horse was stung by this plant in 1867. And in just 2 hours, this horse died in agony. Marina Hurley, the world's top zoology expert, says that the sting of this plant causes such pain as if someone has thrown acid on you. And you are also getting electric current. So if any of you are going to Australia, be sure to stay away from this gimpy tree because no antidote has been discovered yet. Scientists have made another big discovery about Australia, that there were about 20 feet long kangaroos here a few thousand years ago. Scientists have found such fossils from the mountains of Papua New Guinea that suggest that about 20,000 years ago, there were double-sized kangaroos in Australia. But then what happened to them? No one knows, and not just kangaroos. But scientists have also found fossils of 50 feet long snakes here, which used to live here about 60,000 years ago. Imagine what it would be like when such big animals would be roaming here, and who knows? Even today, a giant animal is alive in some part of Australia. Australia's last mystery is a secret military base right in the middle of this desert, which very few people know about. This base is America's largest foreign military base. This is the base from which America keeps an eye on the whole world. And not just this, but from the Vietnam War to the Afghan and Iraq War. This one base played a very big role. If you go to the southwest on a 10-minute drive from Alice Springs in Australia, you will start seeing warning signs like this. And beyond these signs, there is a top secret joint intelligence base run by the American and Australian governments together. And its name is Pine Gap. The official codename of this base is Project Rainfall. This base was built in the 1970s when there was a Cold War between Russia and America. And today, about 800 people work in this base. All the intelligence of Asia, Russia and North Korea is through this Pine Gap base. And no one is allowed to come up to 18 kilometers in this entire area. Many mysterious things are also known about this base. In 2016, some people from Alistown claimed that they have seen UFOs flying around the Pine Gap. This claim could never be verified, and this was suppressed in the news. But this base is now a headache for Australia, because Russia has recently threatened to target this base, and if this happens, Australia will be the biggest loss. So these were a few things about Australia that very few people know. If you like videos related to the geography and facts of countries, then we have made this playlist on the channel called Countries Geography. You can watch a lot of interesting videos in that playlist. Do give your opinion in the comments below because we read your feedback very carefully.